Well, they've changed the scenery, they've ditched the city, ditched the beaches, and now they're in regional Victoria in Shepparton to be exact. Melbourne Victory and Newcastle Jets will be hoping the change of scenery brings a change of fortune. Both teams desperate for the 3 points, with the league coming close to the end. Melbourne Victory, they dropped out of the top 6 for the first time this season with that loss to Canberra United last week. And for the Newcastle Jets, they're coming off a really heavy defeat to the Wellington Phoenix, their biggest of the season. Both sides desperately needing to bounce back, regain some of that form and propel them into the top 6, because this is how it currently looks. Wellington Phoenix sitting pretty at 24 points, but Melbourne Victory just outside on 17, and Newcastle Jets not too far behind, a point behind. It's 16 points in 9th place, so you can see how important those 3 points are for every team in this competition with 6 games left to go. As you can see, these sides not too far away from hitting the field at John McEwen Reserve in Shepparton. It's the second time the Ninja A-League has headed out there. The first back in 2019. It was Melbourne City and Adelaide who took the park that day. And there's Jeff Hopkins really trying to lead his side from the front. See serious faces, really focused from both teams. And for Melbourne Victory and Jeff Hopkins, he said there were going to be some big changes in his side, and that's exactly what he's done. Chelsea Blissett will get her first start of the season, as well as Ella O'Grady. Rihanna Policina, after that wrist surgery, she also gets her start after coming off the bench last week. So those changes mean that Alana Janchevsky, Holly Furphy, and Sienna Silvestre all moved to the bench after starting last weekend. And there's Rihanna Policina right behind. You can't see it just yet, but she has some really heavy strapping on that left hand there. You can see it now. It's in frame. So we'll see how she goes with that as well. Melbourne Victory really need a focal point, somebody to kind of dictate the play. We know she can be a really great number 10. She's got the goals so far this season. Can she find the back of the net, or at least find a teammate to help them find the net? Newcastle Jets will be hoping to try and stop her, and Stephen Hoyle, he's made 2 changes to his team. Charlotte Lancaster, fresh off a call-up to the Football Ferns. She's into the starting lineup. Alexis Collins also gets the nod. That move means that Josie Wilson and Libby Copus-Brown, they will start on the bench, and Cass Davis is unavailable with a heel injury. Perez up against her former side. Didn't go well at the start of the season, a 3-1 loss. Can she turn that around this time in the reverse fixture? 4 goals so far this season. Top scorer for the Jets. They're going to need more, and they're going to need to shut out this Melbourne Victory side. There's Jeff Hopkins. He looked a very serious figure at his press conference this week. He said he didn't need to mention to his team what was at stake and what they needed to do. Hopefully they can find that injection of positivity. He's looking positive for the moment. But can they find something to turn their season around and make that top 6? We've seen them so consistently in. Referee this evening, Georgia Ghirardello. Assistant referees Lauren Hargrave and Danielle Anderson. 4th official, Caitlin Williams. And Stephen Hoyle, head coach of the Newcastle Jets, must have been feeling so positive after that win against Melbourne City. Not a lot of people would have picked that, but since then they have got that inconsistency that they really are trying to shake this season. They aren't too far away. It hasn't maybe gone the way exactly they would have liked, but they are very close to finding themselves in the top 6, but they need to start stacking wins together, just like Melbourne Victory do, particularly with that break coming soon, with that the Asian Cup break. Side's going to have off. You want that positive momentum. See, very focused side in Newcastle. Tash Pryor chatting to her team. She's captaining the side today, with Cass Davis unavailable. Big start for Ella O'Grady. Cool, this game should only have started 1 in the last 35 games. A lot of trust Jeff Hopkins is putting into her. No Holly Furphy. She moves to the bench, as I mentioned earlier. So can she shine, find the net? Andy White. Melbourne Victory's American import this season. It's Been good so far, 8 goals to her name. She's a tall, lethal target up front. But it's defensively at times Melbourne Victory have been shaken. They've let in some sloppy goals. It's teed up to be a formidable matchup between these two teams. What's at stake? It'll be Melbourne Victory who get things going. And Kayla Morrison launching it up the field to start the game here at John McEwen Reserve. And it's perfect time to bring in a co-commentator this evening. Once again, it's Western Sydney Wanderers legend Kath Ganuli. Kath, a big game today.
This is a huge game here for both of these teams. It should be a really exciting game today in Shepparton. You can see here both teams sitting just outside the top 6 and how important a win here would be for either of these two sides.
It is. The wind is going to be a factor. The heat is going to be a factor. It's over 30 degrees as well. But you can see there's a strong, strong wind. So, Kath, when it's a day like that and you see it as a player, what's kind of the things that go through your mind about the way you need to play?
The first thing is in the first 5 minutes, you really got to stay locked on and concentrating on what's happening within the weather and, you know, really just staying connected as a team and starting to test out the conditions, something that a coach would generally touch on before they go out in the shed. So it's important, especially if you're going with the wind or going against the wind, that you have a bit of an understanding of how it all sits.
Certainly, and we'll see which side will have the win helping them out in this first half and if they can capitalise on it. But Newcastle got the ball in the final third already. Hoban trying to find an option. Able to cut it in, but blocked by Kayla Morrison, so we'll have her first corner of the game. Jeff Hopkins, he's going to be sat. He's not going to let the wind kind of move him. He's going to be sat on that chair all game. So that is a strong gust of wind there. You can see players surrounding Newbon. That ball played short, bouncing through. Falls to the back, Claudia Bunge. She's playing this game, and you may be surprised going, well, I watched her against Canberra. She got a red card. Well, that red card was rescinded during the week after it was reviewed, and so she's able to play in this game, but was no help to Melbourne Victory in that game to Canberra, losing 3-1 after they'd scored the first goal. Newbon. Morrison trying to play it slow for the moment. Chelsea Blissett, her first touch of the ball. Back to Blissett. And that immediate press. Hoban able to pick the ball up high. Searching for some options. Got Ayres centrally. Josie Allen takes a strike and well wide, but she's able to find that pocket of space and give them a little bit of time. You can already see the Newcastle starting to just apply a little bit of a press, making Melbourne Victory have to really work and think their way through this problem. Low, dropping deep to collect. Curtis. That wind just dragging it wide. That ball way too long, and I think that's a little bit of that gust of wind as well, dragging it. Picked off by Josie Allen once again. No, she's explosive with her pace. Ray just evades her. But Morrison able to mop up, but that press once again forcing some early mistakes from Melbourne Victory.
We can see that Newcastle Jets are setting up quite aggressively, knowing that they've got the wind behind them. They want to sort of get on the front foot here against the Victory. Heavy
touch from Kennedy White. They are playing with fire, Victory. Another goal kick. They really haven't worked it out of their own defensive third at all. Morrison. Ray. She's getting dragged and just taken out with Sophia Sakalis by Claudia Chico.
You can see here, Chico just comes flying in on Sakalis.
Wasn't subtle at all. And they've broken through. Polisina thought about taking the long-range effort and dragged away from O'Grady, who manages to save it and find Curtis. Low. O'Grady once again. Polisina providing an option short, and they eventually find her. There's not a lot of movement in the box, and that pass is poor and straight to the feet of Emma Bates. And that's sloppy, and Georgia Ritchie quick off her line. Lancaster. Cutting ball. Slipping past Chelsea Blissett, but too far from Kelly Brown as well.
That's a beautiful passage of play for the Newcastle Jets right there, to be able to play the ball out of those tight areas, and Lancaster to try and find that ball into Brown in behind. Just obviously with the wind behind that, just takes the ball over the line, but great vision there by Lancaster.
It's a great ball, just unlucky. The wind dragging it, as you mentioned, Kath, but promising early signs from Newcastle, looking really positive, and that's clever. A chance on goal, and quick reaction from Newbon to deny, I believe it was Alexis Collins.
You can see here Alexis Collins just on her left foot, a little bit hesitant to hit that ball, and Kayla Morrison probably giving her a little bit too much time there in such a dangerous area, but fantastic there by Courtney Newbon.
Really quick reaction time and needed it. But really nicely done. O'Grady, White. Takes it for a little run. Polisina out the back, and it was Lowe who ended up taking that strike. And you can see the wind at play there. It just held up and didn't go anywhere. And Newbon chasing it. Is it really a case of you're trying to play the game as much on the ground, like you do not want to play it in the air, or do you not mind doing that in these sorts of games, Kath?
Absolutely. If you're going against the wind, you don't really want to be playing it, you know, high in the air, and you've got to really get your timing right and your ball speed right as well. And the same thing with the wind or without, against the wind. And you can see here the players will just start to adjust as they start to get a feel of how the wind is playing in or against their favour.
Hoban just nudges Blissett off the ball after beating her in a foot race, and
you could just see there already at both ends. You can see Ritchie at one end, the wind is holding up, and you've got to really start to have an understanding of what the conditions are doing. And then the opposite end, you could see Newborn and the ball's running away from them. So these first minutes of the game is getting to understand how the wind is going to play an effect for your team.
Newcastle, you can imagine they really want to capitalise on having that with them in this half. And Blissett just watches it out of the field of play. Hoban. Brown. Bates. Now Lancaster, the slight, delicate touch. Gets it immediately back from Josie Allen. That's a good cross, and safely into the hands of Newbon. But seen some positive moments from Charlotte Lancaster, in great form. Be feeling on a high after that call up from the football ferns. Collins out to Allen, teeing it up and trying the chip. They're having shots on goal. They're just trying to test Newbon early.
Really cheeky there from Josie Allen, looking to try and chip Courtney Newbon.
Another chance, and that's taken a deflection. Well wide to deny Emma Dundas. So another corner for Newcastle. Lancaster, set piece duties once again. High curling delivery, dragged well wide, and that was Wynn just taking it away from everybody. Saw the first one was closer to that near post and kind of dribbled its way through the pack, and this one just sailing over. Blissett. Morrison tripped up and free kick awarded.
You can see here Kayla Morrison trying to dribble her way out of the press there, and the Newcastle Jets being very aggressive.
Newbon tempting fate, but finds Bunge. Curtis. They just cannot string 4 or 5 consecutive passes together. Melbourne victory. Polisina. Now to Kennedy White. Pryor keeping a watchful eye. And headed away only as far as Taylor Ray. And launched forward. And the chasing pack won't get there before Newbon. Now for Newcastle, with your mind, if you're a player, having the wind there to kind of help you, are you just kind of launching your shot from anywhere, really kind of just trying to take the opportunity?
I think you still have to be strategic in where you're shooting from as well, because also you can see that the wind is quite strong as well, so you need to really be able to know when you're hitting and how you're hitting. You're not just hitting it just from anywhere. There's got to be some sort of finesse behind it as well. But you can see already when the Newcastle Jets are getting themselves into good positions, they aren't really trying to strike the ball straight away. They're trying to find that pass. You can see a couple of times there with Alexis Collins just being a little bit hesitant. There was a time where she finds Josie Allen on the left. I'd like to see Josie, take players on 1v1, and we know how good she is in those areas, and look to start to put Courtney Newbon under a little bit more pressure.
Lancaster. Pryor. Just working Ella O'Grady out of any real impact on that possession. Ritchie. Josie Allen once again up against Rosie Curtis. She wants to use her pace and firing away, just losing her footing, able to regain it and takes a beautiful strike. And well saved from Newbon, but adventurous from Josie Allen.
So brave from Josie Allen. We know what type of work rate she has. She's such a competitor on the pitch, and she knows there she turns. She knows exactly where the goal is. She knows exactly that she's going to take that strike. And that's exactly what Newcastle Jets need right now. They need to take the advantage of going with the win and really putting the Melbourne Victory on the back foot here.
We've seen her really grow a lot, and that corner flag is dangerously close to losing its footing. Lancaster launches it high once again, sits in the air, fades to the back. Polisina tries to head it away, only as far as Kelly Brown. That ball takes a deflection as well. Getting multiple efforts at goal, it seems, Newcastle, when they get in that final third.
Can see here Kelly Brown coming and swapping out with Lancaster, looking for the in-swinger here and probably using the wind to their advantage.
This one's a little bit flatter and headed away. O'Grady, a burst of pace trying to break out. Polisina not able to bring it down. Dundas, Brown slips under her foot, and Rosie Curtis is happy to watch it go out of play. White. Dundas just not able to bring it under control. And cheap foul given away.
See Hoban here, just a little bit late there on Rachel Lowe. Not necessary.
Ray couldn't slip that ball past Brown. Hoban got options and eventually finds Josie Allen. Can she cut it back across? She can. It was on target, but Collins' shot didn't have power.
You can see here Josie Allen again, just in two minds whether to, you know, strike the ball or pass that ball across there. But again, Newcastle Jets getting themselves into some good areas and creating some real opportunities early on.
Polisina able to slip past Pryor, and that ball well defended by Bates. Dundas. Hoban. Moving quickly, Newcastle. Turning defence into attack very easily, but that pass needed to be a lot sharper. Just feels at times that Newcastle are having more luck kind of with their pivot players and just really finding runners ahead of them. Melbourne Victory, a lot of their players coming really deep to collect it, and then there's just no one left up the top. White. Hoban did well to shield the ball. Josie Allen been lively last few minutes and taking a good strike. Once again, safely into the gloves of Courtney Newbon.
It's great to see Josie Allen here on the right-hand side. It's nice for her to be able to cut in on her left foot and be able to strike that ball. And you can see that she's starting to build a little bit of confidence as this game goes on.
And stats really don't lie. Last 15 minutes of play, 70% of the possession in this game has been in Victory's defensive third, and that is a lot of pressure for a unit to be under. What can they do, Kath, to kind of alleviate some of that pressure? You know that Newcastle are going to be pressing high.
We know that Melbourne Victory are a ball-playing team. They're a team that want to be on the ball. They want to keep possession. But unfortunately, right now in this game here is the Newcastle Jets are trying to press them quite aggressively. And sometimes when you do want to play out from the back, you need to try and look to skip a line and maybe go over them. So that's where the space is for the Melbourne Victory. And now they need to start to recognise that on the pitch and start to make some of those decisions, especially when you got the likes of Kayla Morrison and Bunge trying to play out, and sometimes about just skipping straight away and trying to put the Newcastle Jets in two minds.
See if they change any of the patterns of play that we've seen early in this game. Polisina. What can she deliver? You know how lethal Melbourne Victory have been in the past at scoring from corners. Be a great time to have one of those moments. The ball sitting high and headed away. Looked like it was going out of play, and then it worked its way back in. Blissett. Newbon. You just see them trying to think their way through, and Newbon just says, let's just try it. As you mentioned, Kath skipped some lines, and it's found the feet of White. O'Grady able to save it, but immediately handing it back to Lancaster. Ayres, you can see her eyes lighting up, trying to see who's on the other side for a switch. And she found Josie Allen, who looked to be almost away, but Blissett with the timely challenge.
You can see Josie Allen just absolutely flying at that ball, and she's got so much speed, and Curtis there just clipping her, Chelsea Blissett just clipping her there.
And getting a yellow card for her as well. It's interesting, we did see Josie Allen start out on the left-hand side, but she's moved to that right, and Blissett hasn't played, started a game in a very, very long time, so It would be a real test for her up against such a quick, pacey player in Josie Allen. Brown driving the ball low, but just evading everybody. Ray O'Grady. See there. Foul or a throw in, and I believe the throw in's been. Oh no. The foul's been awarded. Policina. O'Grady. So many numbers up ahead. Is that white and gold? Low. That ball cut across from Sakalis. And we're happy it is to launch a boot at it. Ritchie. And goals once again. Lancaster. Too much once again.
Right idea there by Lancaster, just a little bit too much on it again.
Not giving Rachel any time on the ball. Dundas able to pick the ball off. And too far for Claudia Chico to chase down, even with her speed. White searching and just gave enough time for Pryor to get on the ball. No, free kick awarded. So Sakalis driving, Policina. White now, heavy touch. And Josie Allen just trying to clear the danger, but we need more of this if you're Melbourne Victory. Build the pressure, force Newcastle to sit defensively for a while. No, they are a team that can cough up goals. Ayres. Collins. This is very dangerous, and Taylor Ray seeing the danger, seeing the passing lane, got herself in between Ayres and the ball. Policina. And a lot of possession in this game. Melbourne Victory perspective. Kennedy White now. And just an untimely slip. Gave enough time for Bates, and that's a high looping ball. Dundas. And once again clearing it, the danger. And it is, as I mentioned, quite a warm evening in Shepparton, so we're going to have the drinks break. Great opportunity for Jeff Hopkins to maybe chat to his side, and for Stephen Hoyle to maybe reiterate some of the positives you've seen and see what else they can add to try and get that all-elusive goal. But in this kind of moment now, Kath, what does he want his side to do? Like, do they need to play more pace, or what kind of stuff would he probably be wanting to see in the next half of this first half?
I think you'll be mentioning to the girls, we are a ball-playing team. We know that we want to play out from the back, but you need to find different solutions. And if the Newcastle Jets are going to come out and press you aggressively, and they're coming out and they're pushing you to one side, I think they've got to find solutions in behind. You can see Policina try and, skip a line there. And again, he'll be able to have this time to be able to communicate that to the girls as well.
It's fantastic to see so many fans out in Shepparton. This game was originally supposed to play a little bit earlier, but they still showed out, coming to watch some of the Ninja A-League. Got an Archie Thompson fan as well. That's a loyal Melbourne Victory fan. Probably been there since the start. Got some Matilda kits as well. Hopefully they're going to check out the Women's Asian Cup coming on later this year. So fantastic to see so many fans out in Shepparton.
It's fantastic to see that the Ninja A-League is taking games to these regional areas. I think it's really important for, you know, fans all across the country to be able to get out and watch some of these games. And it's a beautiful stadium here and a great little facility, and you know it's great to be able to take the A-League out to these areas and, you know, show young kids, boys and girls, what this league is all about. And I'm always a big believer in you can't be what you can't see, so it's great to see that.
Getting a chance to see some really high-level talent in this competition. Newborn, Bunge. Trying to see an option as Grady heads it into the path of Kelly Brown. Collins. And Rosie Curtis, just a slight error in control there and forcing Courtney Newborn to chase that down. You know, goalkeeper in all sorts of trouble. So Newcastle gets a reset. And Victory's defensive third as they've been there for much of this game. Brown closely keeping an eye on that ball before it's cleared by Morrison. Georgia Ghirardello just having a bit of a chat to Kelly Brown, just probably maybe a final warning. Had to speak to her a couple of times in this game. As Brown just launches it high and see who can deal with it better. Blissett. Polisina able to break through the press momentarily. And then immediately Newcastle defending with numbers. They are not allowing Melbourne Victory players to just travel alone across the park. Rosie Allen once again. Been a real nuisance in this game and bother to this Melbourne Victory team. Brown. That's a Chico. It looked like it had just gone out of play. One back by Collins. Chance for Josie Allen. Got it stuck under her feet. Eventually gets the shot away. And another effort at it. Brown slipping it through, and Collins just couldn't get the ball under control. Blissett providing some of that pressure. Curtis. Clever. Allen just to overrun it. And look at that, Kath. That's scary as a stat to look at if you're the Melbourne Victory defence. You want to break.
You really do, and they've got to find solutions when these conditions are like this and you want to play out from the back, and that's something that the coach has probably instilled in them and wanting to keep to that. And sometimes it's tough, but you can see now already the Newcastle Jets are are starting to just tire a little bit from that press, and you can start to see that the gaps are starting to open up a little bit for the Melbourne Victory team.
Brown, Dundas, trying to find Kelly Brown, who nudged Chelsea Blissett out of the way. Policina to Curtis. And whistle's going, and Josie Allen just having a fiery interaction with Rihanna Policina. She may be small, Josie Allen, but she's got a lot of fight in her.
Josie Allen's got plenty of fire in that belly. You can see whenever she takes a pitch, she takes it and plays with pride and passion. You can see here just the match-up between Policina and Allen. Both two fierce competitors that want to be winners and that want to win this match, and you can just see what it means to both of them. And it's getting a little bit heated out there, but I'm sure that both players are professional enough to be able to bring it back and let the football do the talking.
Josie Allen certainly smiling about it. Probably easier to smile when your team's having a little bit more luck so far in this game. Maybe a little bit of frustration from Rihanna Policina. Team have struggled with possession at times. Collins. Policina looking for options. O'Grady's the nearest. Low in the box. Policina just hanging on the outside. Right, able to evade a few. And then just narrowly missing that post. Taylor Ray. It was a opportunistic type of strike, but wasn't too far off.
You can see she gets a head up, Taylor Ray there, and tries to strike from distance, and it's just off.
O'Grady. Chico. And just took a little bit of a bobble off the feet of Sophia Sakalis, so I don't know if any of these guys are just testing to see who can kick the ball the highest. Eventually, along the ground it goes, and stayed in for the most part, and eventually quite deep in the field. Only one scoreless game between these two sides that they've played this season. Melbourne Victory, that was Melbourne Victory when they took on Sydney FC. Every other game these two teams have played in, goals have felt like they've come with it as a mandatory part of the starter pack. So feels like less of a case of if, but more when one of these sides finally break the deadlock.
Both teams have got plenty of quality across the pitch to be able to find the back of the net.
You can see Kennedy White so deep in the field. No wonder they've only had one touch so far in the opposition box, but O'Grady, chance to use her pace, but well defended.
Great defending there by Lancaster. She's been fantastic today, getting up and down that side, and with the ball she's been really good, and not without the ball here you can see her work rate to be able to get back and, you know, double up there and be able to put her body on the line.
Last corner really put Georgia Ritchie under a lot of pressure. See they're surrounding the young goalkeeper. Ball sitting deep and headed towards goal by Sakalis. And eventually, Melina Reyes just puts a boot into it, and Newbont had to do a bit of a chasing, but that's a scary sign when the ball goes past your keeper and the wind could just drag it anywhere, really.
It really is, and you can see how fierce that wind is from that clearance there from Ayres, and it just puts Courtney Newbon off there. You can see the way it just picks up, and Courtney Newbon, luckily enough, just goes to the side and lets it run out.
I think she was glad she didn't have to chase that one. Another unnecessary sprint as a goalkeeper. Lancaster finding the feet of Chico. Heavy touch, but works to the advantage of Newcastle. Gates. Collins. Dundas. And Victory. Winning it back. Bunge. White wasn't able just to bring it down through that traffic. And Curtis couldn't save it, so Newcastle, once again, nearing half-time. And had a lot of possession, had a lot of the momentum, really, and been the most lively in front of goal, but still, most important stat of the game, 0-0 between these two sides. That ball slipping past Chelsea Blissett. Brown trying to bring a bit of a chase, and that's poor from Newbon. Morrison. For a player like Chelsea Blissett, who's been so unlucky at times in her career with the multiple ACL injuries and a lot of kind of niggling injuries this season. That's why it's only her first start so late into this campaign. How much would it be physically of a toll to be trying to play a full 90 minutes or as close to it as possible?
Absolutely, it's always tough on anybody, whether you come back from injury, but anyone that hasn't played regularly 90 minutes, when you do get that first start, it's always really difficult to be able to push through. And someone like Chelsea that has had, multiple serious injuries and has found it really hard to find momentum in this league. But I think with
Rachel Lowe is no, she's going to be getting a name in the book for that challenge.
You can see here already Rachel Lowe just missed time in that challenge there and coming in that bit late.
Second player in the book. Dundas. Hoban. Collins. Slipping through and finding Rachel Lowe. A runner up ahead. Now Blissett. And just continuing that run. Got off past two. Kennedy wide at the near post and just couldn't reach it with that outstretched boot to really redirect it goalward. White 8 goals this season. Not to get back on the score sheet. And all just A couple bounces, Newborn. Bunge. Low once again, dropping deep. It does feel at times it's Rachel Lowe, Taylor Ray and Policina all so deep to come and collect it, and then really is just Sakalis and Kennedy White up top to try and make something happen, or those three trying to have to link up as they go. Once again, winning possession high. Ayres. So, good touch from Ayres, trying to work her way through. And now Tash Pryor.
Tash Pryor knows exactly what she's doing there. She knows that she's beat. She needs to draw that foul there.
Melbourne Victory trying to be a little bit cheeky and start that play before ready to go. And
she knows that Kennedy White's got plenty of pace, and if she lets her go there, that's a break there for Melbourne Victory.
Especially heading into halftime. Do not want to be coughing up a cheap goal. Policina, she's going to launch from a long way out and calmly collected by Ritchie. Dangerous looked for a moment, but calm in possession, Newcastle. Brown, Hoban, Chico. Just go down the line and just give themselves a little bit more space. Bunge. I've really tried to skip the lines more, as you've mentioned, Kath, trying to find Kennedy White a lot quicker. Morrison. Curtis. And just having to retreat for the moment to reset. Find another option. They start on the right. Will they go back that way? They will. Bunge. Now Policina finding a little bit more space. Kennedy White. Got O'Grady through the middle, and Ritchie able to deflect it into the path of Chico. And eventually cleared a little bit further. Good from the 17-year-old. That was a lot better from Melbourne Victory. They were more patient, and then Anna Policina eventually had that bit of space.
They were. You could see Curtis there coming inside a little bit, allowing Policina to come more into that wider area. So they found Policina on the outside there to be able to break down the Newcastle Jets, and this is a bit better from Melbourne Victory right now.
Policina, smart pass, and White got the shot away, but deflected off Tash Pryor. Ritchie was at the scene as well.
You can see here, Policina, what a beautiful ball in here for White. Just perfect timing in behind there, and that's what you want. You want players like Rihanna Policina on the ball. She's your playmaker. You need to find ways to be able to get her on the ball so she can start to create things for you.
Central figure. She's starting this game after coming off the bench last week. That wrist injury. High, deep delivery. Missed everybody. And will fall to Bunge. So they can recycle it and go again if they like Melbourne Victory. Blissett. Here, Jeff Hopkins shouting instruction, getting them to get into position, and Newcastle pouncing on that moment of hesitation.
Jeff could recognise there that Blissett has gotten up high and he's getting Rosie to come across and stay connected to her defensive line there, and you can see just a couple of instructions here from the sideline from Jeff.
Wonder what he's writing in that notebook. 2 minutes left. Well, he really gets to reiterate what he wants in that next 45, where the wind will be helping them. Allen poking it to the feet of Kelly Brown, who just launches one into the gloves of Newbon. Lancaster. Josie Allen with a clever turn. Tried to ride the challenge, but O'Grady was late.
She's so quick here, Josie Allen. She's just turning, she's going at speed. She's got that change of tempo in her, and Ella O'Grady there just clips her.
Trying to make her presence known, Ella O'Grady. Only made it as far as Bunge, and that speculative effort is one that certainly won't trouble Newbon. Coming to the end of this first 45 minutes. It's been a lot of possession for Newcastle, a lot of the ball in the final third, but they just really couldn't find that real shot to trouble Newbon. Victory have built a little bit more, but this moment could be something. Brown, sailing effort. Seen a lot of that, Kath. They win the ball high and then they just can't get that final effort to really do anything.
They haven't been that clinical once they've been able to get into that final third, and they'll be disappointed going into the halftime break without any goals on the score sheet.
Certainly will be. Some interesting first 45 minutes of action down at John McEwen Reserve in Shepparton. Now Policina got on the ball in that latter part of the first half, finding that connection with Kennedy White. Should be feeling some positivity heading into the second half with that. But at halftime, it is Melbourne Victory 0, Newcastle Jets 0. And these were some of the better moments for Newcastle.
You can see here Alexis Collins, the Newcastle Jets, they started really strong, really aggressive in that front third, and a great opportunity here for Alexis Collins. It was just unfortunate, but the chances kept on coming for the Newcastle Jets. You can see here again, Josie Allen just dribbling at speed, knowing that she's going full pace at this Melbourne Victory defence, and just turns and gets this shot off on goal. And they started again really aggressive, really on the front foot, and had plenty of chances.
Certainly was, and Allen was really one of the bright spots for Newcastle, and particularly with her pace. You saw her start on the left, move out to that right-hand side. And we see her do more of that in the second half. But Melbourne Victory, they withstood a lot of that pressure and then started putting some more on Newcastle themselves.
They really did, and you can see here with Policina, this beautiful ball in behind for Kennedy White. The beautifully timed pass in behind here, and unfortunate Kennedy White can't do a little bit more with that. But the Melbourne Victory started to find their groove, and again, for them, the key to them is to try and get Policina on the ball to start to create chances.
Saw them build. So you take a look at this, Cat. It really ended up being Melbourne Victory who ended up getting more of that possession, where Newcastle was starting to hound them in the first half.
They did. The Melbourne Victory did outpossess the Newcastle Jets, but you can see that the Newcastle Jets really had a lot more opportunities. You can see here 12 shots, 6 shots on target, and really would be disappointed going into the sheds at half-time without a goal on this score sheet.
Well, again, another 45 minutes to try and change that, but we'll head to the half-time break. And welcome back to Shepparton, where Melbourne Victory taking on the Newcastle Jets. It is 0-0 at the break. Frustrating moments for Jeff Hopkins and his side. Some happy fans as well. Really loving the football out in regional Victoria. But something that the fans are going to be really excited for is the Women's Asian Cup coming up in March. And we sent our very own Nick Stoll down to Perth to see what the excitement is looking like building before that tournament.
Well, it is 1 month to go until the Women's Asian Cup starts here on Perth soil. The very first game of the tournament, the Matildas up against the Philippines.
Go Matildas! Well, one thing about it is it's in the best place in the world, and that's Western Australia. You couldn't get anything better than that.
Oh, it's incredible. It's, 60,000 people. Hopefully it's at Optus. It's going to be a fantastic atmosphere. We saw how good it was when the Matildas played the Philippines here last time. The sellout crowd, the noise the crowd generates with K-pop Demon Hunter here as well. It's puts Perth on the map.
As a player before I used to play, how well you played was really determined on how prepared you are. We are prepared. And, I will say we've delivered a tournament in 18 months instead of 14 years. But we're riding off the back of the love of the Matildas, so we've got good runs on the board.
It's not just Australia that's going to be here. There are 11 other nations that are going to come here to Perth.
Indian.
So come to the stadium, get your ticket as soon as possible.
We already bought a ticket since last year, September. Every time the international game or the over East, and now it's in the Perth, and very touched to us. And I wish everybody can come. I know Wednesday against to Japan, it's hard, but we will try. And everybody here, we all come to there. Nalu 1, Nalu 2, Nalu 3, 4, 5, Nalu 7, 11. Formosa!
Yeah! As you can see, this is a football city. People love it. The weather's fantastic. It's going to be an amazing tournament, and already 1 month out, people are excited here in Perth.
It's going to be an absolutely fantastic tournament. Don't forget to get your tickets for the Women's Asian Cup in March. Kath, have you got your tickets already?
I sure have.
It's going to be absolutely amazing. Well, speaking of Perth, their side travelled to Wellington yesterday. And it was Wellington Phoenix who managed to get all 3 points. Take a look at this strike from Woods, slipping past, and I like the dance moves. You reckon she'll be dancing to K-pop Demon Hunter in Perth?
Oh, absolutely. I love those moves. She's been so fantastic for this league, and what a beautiful finish there by Woods.
It certainly is, and it's a really important win for Wellington Phoenix, moving themselves up to the top of the league table. And we'll see the rest of the fixtures. Sydney FC taking on Canberra United. Sydney FC got the new coach recently as well. Canberra United in good form. Melbourne City taking on Brisbane Roar tomorrow as well. And then Western Sydney Wanderers, Adelaide United. That must make you feel very happy, Kath. They're in a really, really good form. 3 games on Sunday. It's going to be an action-packed day in the Ninja A-League.
It sure is, and let's hope we can get a lot of fans out to these games as well.
Absolutely, and make sure to get your tickets for the Women's Asian Cup and get excited for some of the best players in Asia coming to Australian shores.
This isn't just a seat in the stands. It's your ticket to fearless ambition, to roar with crowds, for young fans to see heroes up close, to watch world-class skill, grit and grace. This isn't just a tournament. It's a celebration of what's possible when the world watches women rise. Get your ticket to dream. AFC Women's Asian Cup Australia 2026.
Welcome back to Shepparton. There it is, 0-0 between Melbourne Victory and the Newcastle Jets. The clouds are rolling in. It is quite warm still there. We'll still have a break in between, but sets up for a dramatic finish here at John McEwen Reserve. Injury League heading out to regional Victoria. Newcastle Jets, they had a lot of the momentum in that first 45, Kath, particularly in the first half of it. They weren't able to convert. What do they need to do in the second half with the wind going against them to really turn that around?
I think it's going to be a tough ask here for the Newcastle Jets in this second half, going against the wind. You could see in the first half they really started the game super aggressive. They were pressing Melbourne Victory really hard, and they created a lot of opportunities, but they really didn't take any of them. And it's really tough to come out now in this second half and to be able to go against the wind here. And also you could see in the back end of that first half that they did start to drop off in their intensity.
Now, Georgia Ritchie, this is her second game for Newcastle. The wind was, was a factor in the first half. We saw the ball hang up in the air, but the second half is going to be a really big difference. She's only 17 years of age. How much of the challenge is going to be for her to adjust to it and to adapt quickly?
It's going to be difficult for her. She only had 2 shots on target in that first half, and you can see now with this wind here, the Melbourne Victory, they are very clinical. There's plenty of players on this team that can, score from anywhere. They've got some real firepower up front, and we can see how aggressive they can be now in this opening second half.
It's going to be a lot that her defence needs to do to try and shield her and protect her. And Melbourne Victory like to have possession, but Newcastle, they're going to have to want it a little bit more to try and limit the amount of shots she's exposed to. Not too far away from getting going in this second 45 minutes. It'll be Newcastle kicking to the right of your screen. And they are underway. Brown launching it long and found the feet of Lancaster. And just bouncing through to the gloves of Newbon. Low. Sakalis over the top. Now Taylor Ray going for a little bit of a run. And poked away by Pryor. O'Grady couldn't find the ball to stick to her feet. Josie Allen. It's a real menace in the first half, trying to cause issues for the Victory defence. That ball's cutting across and go out for a goal kick. Melina Reyes, she hasn't really been much of a factor in this game at all, has she, Kath?
She really hasn't got herself into the groove in this game. Normally you can see that she's a menace up front and starts to get plenty of opportunities, but she hasn't really been really into this game at this point in time. But we know what Melina Ayres is like. All she needs is half a chance, and she's a clinical striker, and we know that she's so potent up front.
Her goal scoring record is quite impressive. So Grady having to chase that down, but far too quick. And you know how much she'd love to score against her former side and really get all 3 points, particularly after losing the first game 3-1 earlier this season. It's a game that Anna Policina got on the score sheet. Nikki Flannery got in there as well. No Nikki Flannery in this matchday squad. Brown. Heavy pass. Curtis. And another throw in for Newcastle. Well, you look at the bench for Melbourne Victory. Jeff Hopkins obviously making some big changes. It means that he's got a lot of firepower on his bench. We know Alani Edchesky, she's been playing a more defensive role, but she is still such a threat. Holly Furphy there as well. And Sienna Silvesca. When do you think, Jeff, we'll come back to this as Victory look to build? Sakalis, Ray, O'Grady. Wants to go one-on-one against Lancaster and just slips to the ground. Ray with an effort that's well wide. As I mentioned, Kath, a lot of options on the bench. When does Jeff start thinking about that and bringing those players on to change the dynamics? As O'Grady's just down at the moment, might be forced to make a change.
Doesn't look good here for O'Grady. You can see that she just stretches out there and gets clipped there by Dundas, and she looks like in a bit of pain here.
Hopefully it's just one that stings and she's able to continue. As good opportunity just to get a breather. I know it's even early in the second half, but still want to settle. There is one of the options in Holly Furphy. She has the most dribbles in this team by far. Loves to take players on one-on-one, so that is a very like-for-like replacement. And Furphy's played majority of the games this year.
She has, and it was great to see O'Grady being able to get her chance today as well, because I think she's been great coming off the bench for Melbourne Victory. And sometimes as a player that is that player that does come off the bench to be able to get the opportunity to start a game, I think it's great to see. And you don't want to see any players get injured, and you can see in this moment here with Ella O'Grady, a bit of disappointment on her face when she went down, but I'm sure she'll be back on the pitch real soon.
Looks like she has made her way back onto the field of play, which is a good sign. That's a clever pass. And just wandered offside. And Bates. Ray. They'll be patient. Melbourne Victory. As Sophie Hoban wasn't going to let the ball just reach Sophia Sakalis like that. And Sakalis, once again, she'll get her name in the book as well. So 3 Victory players in the book. So that one makes it 4. Allen. And that effort from Lancaster cleared away. O'Grady skips past one. And Ritchie. Now Newcastle the opportunity to reset. Gotta say, Kath, that feels like it's a new trend with players, these low socks. Were you doing that, or were you the high socks kind of player?
Absolutely not. I was the high socks player.
Feels like no shin protection as Callie Brown tries to take an effort, deflects off 2. White. O'Grady. Got numbers in the box. High looping effort, and it's the right idea. Rachel Lowe was lurking, but just too much on that initial pass in.
You can see here O'Grady tries to pick out Rachel Lowe, but just a little bit too much on it with that wind.
Collins. Now Melbourne Victory there, applying that kind of press. Sakalis looping off the crossbar. Needs to be mindful, Bates. That is a fantastic effort from Sophia Sakalis.
That's beautiful from Sakalis. You can see here she had nothing else on her mind but that strike. She can see Ritchie was just off her line there, and she's backed herself from there, and that's what we need to see from Melbourne Victory.
And those early kinds of shots just to put doubt in the mind of Ritchie. And another free kick and another yellow card. They are starting to accumulate. Just need to be very, very careful Well, for the second game in a row in that one, that's easy. One Rosie Curtis now. Her name is added to a long list.
That's nearly half the team on yellow cards.
You need to be very, very careful, particularly if they start chasing the game and it opens up a little bit more, just putting yourself at risk. Ball slipping through. Oban has to just track back to get the ball. Allen hasn't been awarded so much space in this second half, but wins her side a corner. Kelly Brown. What kind of delivery can she produce? Curling and headed away by Morrison. Able to recycle it, give themselves a little bit more possession. Lancaster. That ball's deflected and seemed the flag had gone up. Here's George Ghirardelli just having a bit of a chat to Kennedy White. Not sure what that was about, but it's...
I think the ball hits her in the head here.
That's gotta hurt. That's gotta hurt. See, reason like that, Kath, is why I could never be a professional athlete. Too much, too brave, these players. But just a reminder of yellow card so far for Melbourne victory. Chelsea Blissett, Sophia Sakalis, Rosie Curtis, Rachel Lowe, Ella O'Grady. So a couple of defenders, particularly those fullbacks, they're the ones you really got to be mindful of. Josie Allen can get a run at one of them. If you're Newcastle, try to get the numerical advantage.
Absolutely got to be really careful here, especially when the Newcastle Jets look to break as well. And on the opposite side, you've got Tash Pryor as well on a yellow card. Their centre of defence, we know what it's like when she can get caught high as well. So Melbourne victory could look to take advantage of that as well.
Will be another throw in. Curtis. There's no war here, and it just feels like these sides could just on the edge of just kind of breaking that lock. And but we know the longer this game goes on and it stays 0-0, more will open up for opportunities. Pryor. Blissett. Low. Dundas just getting tangled up with Chico, and this gives the opportunity to Policina, and Ritchie able to palm it away.
You can see here Policina looking to wind this shot up straight away and really starting to test Ritchie here.
Felt for a moment that Ritchie wanted to try and grab it and then just went with the safer option of just palming it out, and a corner though. So Policina playing it short. Rachel Lowe teeing up from a long way out, but always sailing above.
I'd like to see Rachel Lowe even take a touch there in that situation there. Policina plays her in. She's got plenty of time and space in front of her. The Newcastle Jets don't even read that play.
or somehow stayed in the field of play. And Kennedy White under pressure, but well defended by Emma Bates. Trying to direct. Low. Rosie Curtis on Ritchie. This is a deep corner, headed back into the pack. Sakalis. Let it bounce, Newcastle, and just able to clear their lines for the moment. But Chelsea Blissett is well back to restart this attacking bit of play for Melbourne Victory. And just as we saw in the first half, when Courtney Newbon was in goal, that ball just dribbling past, and Ritchie is happy to just watch it. For Stephen Hoyle, his side did a lot of the right things in the first half in terms of that press and applying the pressure, but they didn't get any reward. But the second half, what do they have to change with the way the wind is affecting it, and also trying to break Melbourne Victory, who was starting to build momentum?
You can see already that they are starting to drop off and allowing Melbourne Victory to be on the ball a little bit more, but it's a difficult one here because you don't want to allow players like Policina, like Rachel Lowe, to be able to start to break the lines and be able to progress the ball forward. They're sitting in the Newcastle Jets are sitting in a 4-4-2 block. They're going to need to be really, really disciplined there to be able to not allow the Melbourne Victory to be able to play through them.
It's going to need a lot of concentration and willpower to withstand the constant pressure the Melbourne Victory will eventually accumulate. And they'll just have to really take their opportunities when they come on the other end. O'Grady try and deflect it into the path of Lowe, but Pride did really well to shield Ritchie to give her enough time to pick up the ball. Lancaster is Policina. Lowe. Just off the back heels. Collins, who looks to be getting dragged, and Georgia Girardello doesn't agree. But Brown able to win possession almost immediately back. Josie Allen's able to space centrally. That ball didn't find her exactly as she wanted, but she's worked it with Emma Dundas. Melina Reyes letting it roll across her, and Kayla Morrison getting in the way. And Emma Dundas just charging in. Will she get added to the long list? Doesn't seem it, just a word this time.
I think Dundas is lucky to get away with that one. You can see here, she just comes absolutely flying in here on Ella O'Grady.
Look, we've seen some ones with were a little bit less that ended up getting their names in the book, and it's very lucky. So a couple of changes. Alana Yanchevsky, Holly Furphy both coming on. And we're going to see Chelsea Blissett. 62 minutes of action, her first start for Victory this season. You can see the smile on her face. So Yanchevsky far more attacking minded than Blissett. And we're also going to see Holly Furphy come on for Ella O'Grady. So that was the initial change we saw with the starting lineup anyway. So very all like-for-like replacements. Jeff Hopkins clearly wanting a change after a disappointing loss to Canberra United last week. What would you think the grade for O'Grady and and bliss it would be.
I think here they've got to be happy that they got the opportunity to get some good minutes in here as well. And I think at this point in the game, you want to be able to freshen your team up and to be able to have a like-for-like replacement on the bench and be able to bring some fresh legs on, but also give the opportunity for someone like Holly Furphy to be able to, you know, win that starting 11 spot back as well. I think, you know, they're two good changes for Jeff Hopkins.
Yeah, Jeffsky immediately into the action. Set piece duties. To the near post and fizzing across and into the net. Alana Janchevsky, immediate impact. That ball was to the near post and just bounced and dribbled its way into the net. Melbourne Victory have the reward after all that. So Jeff, why did you put me on the bench?
We know what type of technical qualities Janchevsky's got, and a really, really rapid corner here with plenty of pace on it as well into those dangerous areas. Wasn't been able to be cleared there by the Newcastle Jets, and a great impact there by Janchevsky.
A real swing and a miss at that ball at the near post from the Jets, and then it just caught everyone off guard. Richie was at the near post and it just found its way into the far post. So I think it was Claudia Chico who was the one who went for the ball. How do Newcastle now respond? So Alana Janchevsky immediately on and gets on the score sheets of being awarded as an own goal. It seems that Claudia Chico has maybe got a slight touch on it. But I reckon Alana Janchevsky will be saying, that's all me.
Absolutely, she will be. We know she's technically very, very good, and she knows straight away to use that win to her advantage. The way that she delivers that cross in with pace and the way she gets behind it, that's the reason why Chico there just misses the clearance there. And again, a great delivery there by Janchevsky.
Policina. And now Melbourne Victory can just be a little bit more free in the way they play. Janchevsky in a foot race with Pryor. And just barging into the back of her, making her presence felt. And
that's the experience of Pryor there. You can see the way she uses her body to be able to shield the ball, and she knows that Janchevsky's coming, chasing her down, and again, she'll be able, her experience here just knows that Janchevsky's there and draws that foul there.
Lancaster. There's Collins. Dundas. That's a bit of a ball for Chico, and straight to Kayla Morrison. Pryor. Bunge sends it back. So how do Newcastle now respond? They've got some options on the bench. India Bryers come on and had a heroic moments this season in that Canberra United game, first game of the season. Libby Copus-Brown's on there as well. Their second all-time leading scorer, Lauren Allen's on the bench. So they have some options as Collins slips through and is taken down by Bunge. And another name added to that long list of players with the yellow card. Bunge
You can see here Alexis Collins just takes a touch away from Bunge there, and
she looked through a needed challenge, but Claudia Bunge something similar last week and was sent off, so this week a little bit luckier. Kelly Brown, Charlotte Lancaster looking as the options. Standing over the ball, and Newbon. Trying to settle some tall members in that wall. Morrison, Furphy. And it's Brown who takes the strike and just could not keep it down. It just kept rising and rising and rising. And time for a cooling break it is. As I mentioned, in the 30s. Down in Shepparton, and it is fantastic, as I mentioned, to have this game in Shepparton. It's being delivered in partnership with the Greater Shepparton City Council, an initiative to further strengthen and grow the connection between the club and the region. So it's really great to have the game there, and the crowd are responding as well, with so many members of the Shepparton community going down there to watch the game, to be a part of the Ninja A-League. I saw an Arsenal shirt, so I got a little bit excited there as well. But it's fantastic to see all types of football fans there to support this competition in regional Victoria.
it really is. You can see these fans are coming out in numbers. It's great to see the community getting behind football in this area, and I think again it's really a great opportunity to be able to take more games to these regional areas. I think it's super important that regional areas get the opportunity to be able to take any of the A-Leagues to these areas now.
It really is, and I think I heard during the halftime somebody in the crowd is getting a signed shirt from all of the Melbourne Victory players. They won it. That's amazing. Some great players, likes of Rihanna Policina, Kayla Morrison, Rachel Lowe, a lot of champions in that Melbourne Victory team. So it is really great to be there. It's great that Melbourne Victory are continuing that partnership. As I mentioned, there has been one game before at this ground. It was Melbourne City and Adelaide back in 2019, but it'd be great to see this continue to build and see the competition not just played in the major cities, but also in the regional areas. But if you miss any of the action of the Ninja A-League, which you never would, of course, you can always catch up on it on the A-League's website and watch Dub Zone as well. Teo Pellizzeri on the panel. Here from Arlene Mashto, and an array of A-League's legends as well on there as well. Chico. Collins not able to just trap that ball. Bates. It's a really young team. I haven't mentioned this in the broadcast, but it's a really young team that Newcastle have fielded today. Average age of 22.8. 80 days, sorry. And there's Chico trying to feed it through. A lot of young players, like of Bates, Josie Allen. Even Claudia Chico is really young as well, and Dundas. So they may have quite a few games under their belt, particularly likes of Dundas, Chico and things like that, but they are still relatively quite young in this competition. So that's well weighted past the feet of Hoban. Dundas slipping through the back heel. Can they get a shirt there first? It was Josie Allen. They've won a penalty. Josie Allen and Claudia Bunge once again. She was in the headlines last week. Back at it this week, and Josie Allen. Alexis Collins did really well, and it took a deflection off Kayla Morrison. And then, looking at that, Kath, what do you make of that?
Oh, I'm not sure if that's a penalty there. You can see Josie Allen comes flying in and puts her body on the line there, but I don't think she's denying a goal-scoring opportunity there.
I might have to agree with you there, Kath. It feels like maybe 2 weeks in a row, Melbourne victory, slightly unlucky. It felt like Holly Furphy came in with the initial contact. It was body on body, and then Bunge was there as well. But doesn't matter anymore. Georgia Ghirardello was awarded a penalty. It's Kelly Brown. Can she level this game up and get Newcastle back into it? She certainly can. Puts it into that top corner. Make of the penalty decision what you will, but Newcastle back level with Melbourne victory. Cool, calm and collected from Kelly Brown.
A great penalty there by Kelly Brown. She's taken it really, really well. We can see here on the replay, Josie Allen just comes flying in, and Curtis here just using her body to protect. And again, a lovely finish here by Kelly Brown.
Was beautiful. It's all about that placement. And so, got a few changes right now as well. And some movement on the bench. So Kelly Brown, her last action, getting Newcastle back level. Rachel Lowe, she's headed to the bench as well. Laura Pickett and Sienna Silvesca have both come on. And you see Lauren Allen on for Kelly Brown. So Lauren Allen, second all-time goals scorer for the Newcastle Jets. This game is poised for a great finish. It's a very attacking change from Jeff Hopkins, bringing Silvesca, midfielder slash forward, on to replace Rosie Curtis, who has been playing more defensively as a fullback in this game. Did have a yellow card also. And Carlos knocked down.
You can see Jeff Hopkins straight away making changes after that goal. He knows how important this game is to his team. If they want to stay in the mix in that top six, they need to get the win today.
Bates. Lancaster. Polisina. She's teeing herself up, and Ritchie using those long arms to catch that.
She's just forced this one, Polisina. The ball's just getting away from her. She's stretching out there to try and strike that ball. She probably had enough time to be able to take another touch towards goal there and be able to set herself up. She'll be disappointed with that one.
Josie Allen won the penalty for Newcastle. And trying to create a spark for this team. Hoban. Lancaster. Looping and into the box. Sakalis, can she keep it in play? She can. Polisina. Silvesca. Seeing Ritchie off her line. Not surprised at all that Sienna Silvesca would take that kind of effort.
Absolutely, you can see straight away as soon as she gets herself on the pitch, she wants to be in and amongst all the action all the time, and she definitely has that in her locker, Sienna Silvestre. Technically, she's very, very good, and she's got a beautiful left foot.
He does, and hopefully Melbourne Victory is more of a permanent home. We know she's at Western Sydney Wanderers and spent a season at Sydney FC and didn't really play all that much, and then went back to the Wanderers and now here, so maybe a change of scenery, get a more consistent football. Such a, technically, as you mentioned, Kath, a really, really good player. Yanchevsky, Sakalis, and well defended by Chico.
Great defending there by Claudia Chico. She's done really well to stay on her feet there against Sakalis. We know what she's like 1v1, and it was a beautiful piece of defending there. She's so strong on the ball, Chico. She's a workhorse. She's always working really hard for her team, getting up and down those wide areas as well.
And that's headed out. Pryor, that's it, on her feet and just caused themselves a little bit of confusion here. White slipped past everybody. Policina spinning, ducking, finally getting the shot away.
You can see here Policina trying to get herself through that Newcastle Jets traffic there. You can see the frustrations on her face here.
Headed away by Hoban, was getting held, but offside flag anyway. Ritchie launching it. Does feel like the wind is just calmed down. There's Lauren Allen. Tried just wheel herself there before Newbon, but got a pace in that ball. It's deflected off Melina Reyes. Sakalis with a little bit of space up against Chico. Policina. This is clever from Victorious. Yanchevsky drives it into the box, but there's no Victory player who can get on the end of it. Silvestre. And blocked. As Pickett tried to find a teammate in the box. White, Pryor, end to end, and that effort finds the way and finds the net. What an effort. All Newcastle could do was stand and watch, and it's another one of the substitutes finding the net for Jeff Hopkins.
A great impact here by the Melbourne Victory substitution. Holly Firthy, what a beautiful strike here. You can see she gets a little opportunity. She gets half a chance and takes a strike, and a beautiful left-footed strike here by Holly Firthy.
Clever. Took her time, and all Ritchie could do was just watch it sail past her. Jeff and the crowd absolutely love it. Lots of Melbourne Victory banners there. Got to ask Kath, is Jeff Hopkins saying I made the right decision? I might be a genius putting these players on the bench and lighting a fire in them to make an impact coming on.
Absolutely, and that's what happens when you get benched. You get that fire in your belly. You want to go out. You want to prove yourself to the coach to be able to put you back into that. You've got to earn that spot to get back into the starting 11. Nothing's given to you now, and you can see the impact that both Jenchevsky and Furphy have had.
And Richie, not a lot that the 17-year-old could do in that instance of that goal in particular. Both goals, really, she hasn't really had. She's been quite far away from it with her positioning. And there's Chico, tries to curl it into the box. Silvesca. Ultimately, it's a great effort from Holly Furphy to beat Richie, and then an unlucky bounce and swing and a miss from Claudia Chico, and that ball found its way into the net as well. So Melbourne victory, from all things considered in this game, you'd say they probably deserve to be leading, and maybe a little bit unlucky the penalty went against them anyway.
I think if you look at the game from two halves, in the first half, the Newcastle Jets had so many opportunities to be able to put the ball in the back of the net, and I'm sure when they look back on this game, they'll be disappointed that they didn't really be able to convert any of those chances. And then here in the second half, the Melbourne victory really are starting to take their chances, but really they're not being chances that are being created from build-up. They're being chances that have been taken individually by players here.
Chico. And we're going to see some attacking changes for Stephen Hoyle to try and change it this game with just under 6 minutes to go. So Libby Copus-Brown's going to come on. Hayley Johnson's going to come on. We've seen Melina Reyes now head to the bench. Hasn't really had much luck in this game and just has not been able to impact. And Sophie Hoban as well has to sit for the last few minutes of this game.
I think for Hoyle here, he needs to make some changes. He's down right now and he wants to find any opportunity to be able to change this game around. And I think the change that he's made here will hopefully make an impact for the Jets. We know Libby Copus-Brown, she's got plenty of experience in this league. She knows how to be able to dictate this midfield here and be able to guide these younger players around her as well. And again, I'm sure that Libby was disappointed to be on the bench today, and it's an opportunity here for her to prove to her coach that she should be starting.
Copus-Brown, she can produce, and she doesn't mind taking a long-range effort. So they're not getting as close as they would like to those goals. Player who's just willing to be brave, just to change things up. It might help Newcastle, but they need to get the ball to the other side of the pitch and really start putting the pressure on Melbourne Victory if they want to leave this game with anything. And if Victory are able to hold on, they haven't won a game their last 6. Their last win was against the Newcastle Jets, and that was 3-1 away. So that was all the way back in December. It's been a long time for Melbourne Victory to get a win. They've only been picking up draws or losses, and they've seen them, as I mentioned at the very start of this broadcast, fall outside of the top 6. They sit 7th currently, but it's so tight in terms of the points that every single point matters, and dropping them at this stage of the season could be very, very detrimental. Dundas. It's goalward now and sent high. And not that far in the end as it's back to the feet of Sakalis. Chopping and changing direction. Now Josie Allen, can she get a run? Just headed it well wide. And that looks to have touched the hand of Laura Pickett, and George Ghirardello agrees. Lancaster. Johnson was waiting, but just couldn't find its way through that slight gap that appeared. Silvestre. Ritchie. This is the situation thereafter. Collins got Lauren Allen to the right-hand side, goes with Josie. Can it be Allen to Allen? Not that time. That ball needed to just be whipped across with far more pace. They had the numbers there, it looked for a moment, with Collins and Lauren Allen. Josie Allen on the other side as well. Johnson. Ritchie. Josie Allen. Pryor. You know the game is almost out of reach. Tash Pryor getting sent forward. Chico, that's dangerous. Headed back the other way. Chico once again, too tall for Lauren Allen. That was the right delivery.
It really was. It's great to see here the Newcastle Jets really taking it to the Melbourne Victory here and pushing Tash Pryor up and pushing those extra numbers up and trying to gamble here.
Bates. Hopus Brown. They've had the throw in, but deep into the Melbourne Victory defence. Claire Craylow, former goalkeeper for the Newcastle Jets, is not pleased. Not sure what it's about, but she's not pleased.
Gotta love that passion on the sidelines there.
Absolutely. Feels like Claire's about to sign somebody up for a Specsavers subscription or something with the way she's upset. Not sure what decision in particular they were talking about, but maybe 5 more minutes added on.
That's a terrible foul there by Kennedy White. You don't need to do that in this part of the game. You're trying to hold on to a 2-1 victory here, and Hopus Brown, no threat right there, and it's a terrible, terrible foul there.
Saw Grace Marr there. Looks like they're going to hold off with that substitution. Marr's going to come on for Kennedy White, so a defensive change. Want to keep that height of Kennedy White there to hopefully deflect that away. Lancaster out sitting in the air for a long while, and then Silvestre tried to launch it away. Her first effort wasn't the best, but Taylor Ray eventually clearing it with getting good distance on it. And now they will do that substitution.
Hopkins would just use Marr here to be able to wind down the clock and try and see this game out. It's important here, the Melbourne Victory girls, their game management.
And it'll be Brianna Polsina instead of Kennedy White. Bates. And just a tangle of feet, and it's wait and see who gets the advantage here. It's going to be Newcastle who get the free kick, and Laura Pickett's got a big look of confusion. It just kind of just ran into each other. I'm not really sure if that one was.
Laura Pickett there just trying to duck out of the way of that ball and then runs into Johnson there.
A little bit unlucky. Lancaster. Can she produce the ball? And Newcastle needing the moment. Not like that. Bates. Lancaster. Dundas, and just a ball too far out of her reach. Silvestre. Sakalis happy to work her way out of play. I think she's trying to get to the corner, but Newcastle, they got to act quickly if they want anything out of this game. Pickett. Pickett just high. Kennedy White's done well to keep it in play for the moment, and then eventually hands it back to the Jets. Got to be quick and decisive, Newcastle, and that's not the way to do it. Ma, she looked up for a moment. She's going to head to the corner, take more time off, and that ball take a slight touch off a Newcastle player. It did. That's clever from Grace Ma, very experienced customer. Ma. Surrounded and hounded Kennedy White, and eventually the whistle is blown. And it's gone to Newcastle. Not sure how that's possible, but Newcastle, absolutely, that is a waste of a gift. Bates. Ritchie tried to launch it and couldn't get the contact. But it's not going to matter for Melbourne victory. The all-important 3 points. They've waited a long time to get that, and it was the substitutes who delivered. Holly Furphy with the winning goal. Alana Janchevski set it up. It was an own goal in the end to Claudia Chico. Alana Janchevski might claim it. You can see the smiles on the victory players' faces. They had to respond after a disappointing loss to Canberra United last week, and that's exactly what they did. It stood the pressure from Newcastle in the first half and really punished them in the second. Ray and Shepparton, and here's Melbourne victory 2, Newcastle Jets 1. And what an effort. Alana Janchevski, Claudia Chico, looked initially that she missed it, but took a touch.
It did take a touch. It was a beautiful delivery there by Janchevski. The way that she shapes that ball and the pace that she gets on behind it, it's just a fantastic delivery there. And here at the other end, the penalty from Josie Allen putting